So it
Wait,
was
what?
like
So we were not live this whole time? So I didn't. Okay. Hey, what's up,
We're live
everyone?
just now.
We're
we're
just live
live
now.
just now.
What in the world happened? Okay, so what we were? Oh my gosh, we were talking about nothing then. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's a fun
Okay.
part
It's
of
okay.
the.
Can we do it the second time
Yeah,
around?
sure. Yeah, of course, of course. We are now going to go. Yeah, we're now live. So here we go. This is the
Link.
that is right. Okay, so this is the
There's
Rinky
always
Dink
a
link.
first time for
Oh my
everything,
gosh.
Vince.
Yeah, this is so raw. That was so raw. I was like, I just noticed that on the corner that said, are you ready to go live?" I'm like, wait, we're supposed to be live already. So, anywho, sorry about that, everyone. So, again, my name is Vince. We have, go ahead.
So I'm Sheila.
Edward.
Uh-huh.
Julie here.
So, we are the Rinky Dink link. We have two more people who usually come with us, Hermano Eduardo and Jeff Fagundes. They are indisposed at this moment, and today we're going to be talking about cultures and borders. The show must go on, as I said before, in our pre non-recorded portion of this meeting. Anywho, the first question is, what is an open border? What constitutes a country then if the borders are open? Second question is, what if countries remove their borders? Third one is, what is a cultural border? What does this look like to you? What do borders affect? How do borders affect society as of right now? How will it affect people in the future? Next is, how do borders cause conflict or create conflict or opportunities for conflict? And that will be it. So we have our first question: what is an open border? Let's ask again, Julie. What is an open border? You had a very good answer to this. So let's
Uh,
start with you.
so again, I need to look at my answer sheet and then I answer it with referring to Wikipedia. And according to Wikipedia, open border is a border enabling free travel slash movement of people and goods between jurisdiction with a few or no restriction. It's basically globalization. Let people travel freely between among countries. If the country agree if the countries agree let people into their country. So
That's right. Okay, and then Kuya had something to add about this. Um, let's start with that quiz with those acronyms that that were really cool and cool sounding, but probably people outside of the Philippines will not know what these are. Go ahead with that.
All right. Thanks, Bings. Yeah, open border refer to a system that allows people to pass through borders without checks, proof of anything, or allowance to enter another country. But aside from that, we also have this open border, not only in two different countries or neighbor country, but that you need to pass through. But you could have a open border on your own country. So like here in the Philippines, we have open borders here, but as of the moment, because um, of the uh, of the pandemic, of the COVID-19 pandemic that was happening worldwide, and here in the Philippines, so we're still implementing these protocols, and we have this kind of restrictions. We have different kinds of health restriction protocols. So we called the first one ECQ. So it is enhanced community quarantines, wherein most wherein curfew hours are strongly implemented, and both indoor and outdoor dining is not allowed, and personal care services such as barbershops, salons, and parlors are also prohibited in this restriction. And also individuals age 18 to 65 are the only ones allowed outside. And for the MECQs, it is modified enhanced community quarantine. So the movement of people should only be accessing for goods and services from permitted establishments. So the established should be permitted by the government before they can operate, and gatherings outside of their residence are not allowed. And for the last one, GCQ. So is that when in GCQ with heightened restrictions, food preparation establishments as commissionaries, restaurants, and eateries may operate with their indoor dine-in services at the venue of seating capacity of 20% only, and with their al fresco or outdoor dining services at the venue or seating capacity of 50%. So that's how it goes here in the Philippines. And yeah, we have open borders here. Just so that happened during because of the pandemic, there is a borders that hindering us to go to to visit like for me I would love to visit my province, but I can't as of the moment because there is a border and there's a restriction like hindering me going to my province. So that would be all for me.
And for us here in America, we do have something similar, but not that similar. To be honest with you, we have, instead of counties, we also have countries. We have counties without the R. So in a county, I am in LA right. Oh, by the way, before I move on, Kuya mentioned one word, eatery. Eatery. An eatery is a small restaurant. It's run by a family usually, and they have the turo turo, the point
I
system.
missed that one then.
Yeah, me too. So you point at whatever you want to eat, and then they would
But I
serve
can
it to you.
remember the punko punko. I don't know if you remember this one.
The punko punko is also kind of different in that it's you for punko punko it actually means to crouch. So not crouch.
Exactly.
You sit on a
Just
stool.
squat.
Okay?
Some of us are just squatting down.
Yeah, we squat. Yeah, that is the actual word. Punko means to squat on
Yeah.
something, and then yeah, so you then ask them for that food, and they would serve it to you. When serving is very cheap, from way back then. I'm not sure anymore, but with that aside, I wanted to just clarify what that word meant. An eatery is a place, an establishment, like a restaurant, a mini restaurant, but with limited services. So the question was an open border. What constitutes a country that if the borders are what if the borders are open? For us, we have counties here, and there are certain counties that are kind of strict, and so kind of like a GCQ, ECQ, MCQ of the Philippines. We they do have something like that for some, but not all of them. So, and it's almost like an open border for us too. Whenever we would go to, speaking of which, Julia and I are part of the San Jose Public Library, and none of us live in San Jose. She lives in the Santa Clara County. I live in San. I live in Los Angeles. That's really, really, really far. But I used to live in San Francisco, and so I have a library card from there, and I'm and openly admit that I actually use their services and actually even call them for services, and everything is okay as long as you are a citizen of California, a resident of California rather, then you are free to ask for those services as long as you have a card. And for me, back to open borders, there are countries that are already have open borders. Actually, we'll talk about Northern Ireland and the UK and Ireland itself. Northern Ireland is part of Ireland. However, it is a territory of the UK. However, their border is open. They can freely come and go. There used to be riots and demonstrations against this. There are the Irish are they want to oust the UK because come on, you guys have your own island. Why are you encroaching on our island? But there are also some Irish who kind of sided with the Brits and are loyalists to the crown, and so they have sided with them and are in that part of the island. And the only thing that really stops them from there's nothing that stops them from crossing the border because it's really open. The only indication is the paint on the road, on the pavement itself. So once you cross the border, you would notice that it now has from white it turns into yellow and or yellow to white, vice versa. You're now in the an open. You have now crossed each other's border. Same thing is also happening in Tanzania and Kenya. They have the Maasai people. The Maasai people are they are Africans who are who have a lot of livestock, I guess, goats and that sort of thing, sort of animals, and they have to graze from one plain to another, and they just cross the border. There's no strict line delineation that this is now Kenya, this is now Tanzania. So, and they even have houses in each. Some of them have houses on each side of the country, and historically they have been part of a single territory, and so that's why they are okay with this. With they don't really care. So that's what an open border is to me. If we really wanted to have more of a
More freedom.
people are more free. They have more freedom to come and go. So what about you, Atta? Do you have anything to add when it comes to
Yeah,
open
just
borders?
what Julie and Edward said. An open border is, the government of a country allowed other citizens from other country to enter a certain country or a certain territory with a few or without restrictions at all, like visa and some other things necessary. So like here in Turkey, I would add like based on what Ben said about the Ireland and here before I arrived here, I know that Greece and Turkey they had an open border. Like you can just take a ship and then go to Greece, but now they closed this border. There's like a conflict now between Greece and Turkey with it. But other countries open to, let's say, for example, Cyprus. We can go, like for Turkish citizen, you can go to Cyprus without restrictions. And also Azerbaijan, I think. Yeah, that's the countries I know.
Azerbaijan. Okay, so I,
Yep.
I only know the country by name. To be honest with you, I'm not really that familiar with even with the language. We don't deal with them in my line of work. I deal with them
Exactly.
various territories, but I've never really heard of Azerbaijan other than like in history class. So now that we have covered what the what an open border is, and what a country looks like if it has open borders, let's move on to what if countries remove their borders. We've kind of seen it already, actually.
Exactly.
If
Exactly.
we have Tanzania, we have Kenya, we have the Philippines with its borders with its different provinces. We here in the United States, we also don't really have borders. You only really see it once you cross state lines. Buy something and you're like, wait, why is the tax like this? Why is it no
Exactly.
longer 1.5? And then you're like, oh, it's really cheap here. Oh wait, no, there's no taxes here in Nevada. I should really just move here in Nevada. Anyway, I've actually contemplated on that too. So if we remove borders, there would be a free floating of goods and services. People come and go. They're able to do whatever they are. But what about you, Julie? When it comes to removing borders, what would it look like to you, other than what I've just said?
Oh well, this is another difficult question to answer because because of the COVID thing. Right before the COVID, there was a movement against the rising movement of the nationalism, regionalism. Because of it, there are people claiming that they are losing their job because of globalization, free trade. So, if the country remove their border entirely, first of all, I don't think it's possible at all because like you said, earlier example of San Mateo country has a right, obligation to serve their citizen first, and then we are applying green card to permanent work permit something in here, and then to be qualified to get the green card, my husband's job not impair another job opportunity of American citizens. So we have to prove how my husband's job, why foreigners should take this job, not in the citizen of America. So removing border, I don't think it's impossible unless they're not hindering or impairing the job opportunity or economy of the country. Then as long as that, the country can move the borders. But I don't know. It's a really difficult question right now for me, to be honest, because there are
Okay.
so many stakeholders' interest comes
Stakeholders, yes.
and then
Exactly.
interest. So many people's interest entangled with this border issues. So
What about you, Chris? What can you say about removing borders? What would this look like to you, other than what I just said and what Julia said?
The good thing with this is that if the countries remove the borders, of course there's gonna be a trade and exchange of services. Like way back then, there's a barter. So it's at the trade of services that you don't need to pay money. It's it's if you want to change your apple to mango, it could be that way. And yeah, that's when that was the good thing that could happen. But if there's a and also the freedom as well, of course. And you have to like get to know others culture as well. But in on the flip side of it, maybe maybe the the misunderstanding would arise. At first it's good, but at the latter part, maybe there will be a commotion or a glitch that will be happening. So as we all know, let's be honest, most people are already in favor of free movement. So, but there is a like a downside of it, because borders preserve the privilege of the wealthy at the expense of the poor. So they
Right.
do this. They do this by preventing the movement of the world's poorest people and
Exactly.
restricting their access to the resources and opportunities available in wealthy countries. So that's one part of it. And also borders like produce violence but do not stop immigration. So that's one of the another downside of it, because the number of people dying while crossing borders has reached unprecedented levels. And yeah, we cannot deny it, and we already watch it in the news. There's a there's once you remove this, there's at the end of the day, there's gonna be like a misunderstanding, and it went up to violence. And also another one, that there will be like I would say prejudice, blaming like migrants for low wages divides
Uh,
workers and
Exactly.
creates ways to the bottom. So something like that. And another thing is more migrants would be able to return home safely. But that is a good thing of it. So open borders would mean that people could move freely, helping more immigrants return back home with the risks associated with closing borders removed. So yeah, that would be all for me. I think.
all right. Actually, you were already answering number four. How do borders affect society as of right now? How would it
Hmm.
affect people in the future? That is definitely what you were answering just now. So let's uh, just continue on this, and we'll come back to question number three. So,
Okay.
Ate, when it comes to borders, how does it affect it further? Like Kuya was saying something along the lines of,
Okay,
you know,
so that's what I agree with
yeah,
Vince and what Julie said. Like, okay, let's say for example, economically,
hmm,
it's gonna be good for both countries because let's say for example, let's cite an example, the Philippines. There are so many Filipino workers abroad, and when they earn money abroad, they send it to their family in the Philippines. So it helps. They help the let's say in the US they help the economically boom. They also help the Philippine economy boom. But what will happen what happens is within the US so many people like okay, not only US but the citizen of a certain country will complain like they are accepting the salary difference because they let's say for a Canadian who wants to work like let's say $10 an hour, if a Filipino can work $10 an hour, then the business owner will give the job to that person. So there's gonna be like, okay, there's economic booming, but there's gonna be, I'm scared there's also civil war within the country itself.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, definitely, I would not want to work for $10 an hour. That is definitely something that is way below what our hourly wages here in California. I think it's $15 as of this moment.
Exactly, it's like
At
15 or 14.
15 here in
15.
California. And but then Amazon has, because they're lacking workers, especially now that we're approaching the, what do you call this now, the
The holiday
Christmas
season?
season, the holiday season. Yes,
Yeah.
and so they need more people. They raised it up to $17 an hour, and there's actually a sign up bonus as well. And they're also trying to entice college students or people who want to go back to school, that they would also cover their tuition. Like who would not say, yeah,
No
would
to
not say
that.
no to that. Sorry, I would definitely say yes to that. However, I'm
Of
already
course.
in a company that is treating me well, so there's less incentive for me to jump into Amazon and start anew. Um, so yeah,
But yep,
yeah,
sorry to butt in, Vince, but $10 per hour here in the Philippines, it's a huge already.
yeah, that's
That's what I said. Like
yeah,
when they send the money to the country, to the Philippines, it means a lot. It's a big money.
it's 500
But
pesos.
exactly, it's a big money, so it helps the family, it helps the Philippine economy, but also like the citizen of the countries where the Filipino usually work. That's why they're struggling to find a job or get a job.
What about you, Julie? When it comes
Uh,
to the borders,
oh yeah,
yeah.
so right before that, so Edward just mentioned about at the expense of people, poor people. So it remind me thinking about the debate these days going on there. There is an ongoing debate about meritocracy and then capitalism. How capitalism ruin everybody's life, something like that. Only capitalism favor the top 1% of wealthy people, and then they're exploiting the bottom people, the bottom of the pyramid, something. And then but there is this is a really debate because okay, everybody, there is some kind of the success myth that who make a breakthrough out of the poor environment, something like that. So and then capitalism using those kind of myths to enable people dream about American dream. You can do anything, and then you can be anybody you can want to be, something. So okay, there is a myth about the capitalism they're creating we all together, but you also the thinking about the why we started try to think about the opening border, because we need a free labor, less cost, and then something like a less sorry about me. My tongues are tangled. And anyway, the main reason why country open their its border because they want some kind of money, economic boom. So and then this is like all downplay and the interplay with the capitalism and the economy, and people want some kind of free, a less expensive something stuff. So that's why we send our product that build that's why country try to build a company in a foreign country to utilize the free labor, less cheap labor in there. So and then people try to say, okay, you are exploiting me, my free labor, cheap labor. So like a link to the expense of poor people, but who are initiated the whole movement is a vicious cycle of the whole capitalism and expense of poor people. But there is some kind of certain myth about you can work hard, you can break through, and then there is a myth like a Hollywood movie showing, and then there is a many capitalism phrasing. So it's a like a constant ongoing question marks
Yes,
for
it
me.
is. It is definitely an ongoing question, but I would like to also touch upon, since I know this is going to strike a chord with you. How do borders affect society as of right now? we have countries that have been broken into two, three. For example, India has been broken down into Sri Lanka, Pakistan. Actually, yeah, that's right. Sri Lanka used to
Bangladesh too? I
Bangladesh
don't
as
know
well.
it
Yes.
exactly.
So those are they were part of the same country way back when. However, even I think even Afghanistan way back when. I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure. But one thing I'm sure is North Korea and South Korea, which Julie is from. She's from South Korea. We know that the people families have been separated uh, by this border. So let's talk about that. So how is it affecting you think when it comes to these families that have been separated, Julie?
Definitely, there's people. I'm from South Korea. I don't have any relatives in North Korea, but there is a people who left their relatives in North Korea, and then but we've been divided for so long time, and then the over 50 years, so the connection to the North Korea keep fading away, and then so younger generation, and then including myself, I don't see North Korea as a one nation, our one people, even though I've been taught that North Korea is our country. We have to be unified someday. But to be honest, I'm so scared of North Korea because they're constantly attacking. Not constantly. There's time they're attacking us, South Korea, with a missile, and then they send the espionage, and then they're yeah. So every time it happened, it's really scary. Even though it was a 10, 10 times something like that, but and then yeah, it's a really that I think definitely border makes North Korea feel further for me because it's physically and emotionally. Even though Seoul is a very close to locate to the line, the dividing line, 3.8 line, though still feel like North Korea is a far away country from like a located in Africa something. So to be honest, it's physically even though we're very close, but psychologically, I feel so estranged from North Korea because there, even though I read and some kind of book and articles of a North Korea defector, and they also say same things. They are saying they are having a hard time to adjusting South Korea community. So we have totally different country with the level of development is also different. So
I
and
would
then
like
the yeah, and
and
then the
Julie,
language is also different, slightly.
speaking of language, I would like you to listen to this. Um, I don't know. Does it sound still? Does it still sound like Korean to you? That you know.
우리 당과 국가군대의 최고령도자 김정은 동지께서 미 합중국 대통령과의 역사적인 첫 상봉과 회담을 위하여 평양을 출발하셨습니다.
So does that sound still like could you understand what she's saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
But yeah, intonation and the way she speaks is so dramatic. Okay, she has so kind of you feel like she does the playing something. So yeah, so even in Korean anchor, news broadcaster doesn't say it like that. So we understand the Korean, but the intonation and the way she speaks is totally different.
So yeah, the Korean dramas that I used to watch with my mother actually, Daejangung. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. It was
What?
really big. It was so big. Even the Filipinos were watching it. I know that the episodes were like an hour or and a half long, I think, and then they would chop it up into three sections in the Philippines whenever it's broadcasted there. But here, I watched it on KTSF. It's a local San Francisco Bay Area channel, and it was just the way it was subtitled, and because of that, I was enamored and kind of I could hear how the intonation is normally for Koreans, and it's definitely different from what I just saw. I mean, it's a newscast, however, there is a difference. I mean, newscasters do have a certain kind of different
There's a
intonation.
standard
There's a
intonation and standard tone when they broadcast.
Yes, there is. However, it really is so different. Well, even by listening to this newscast in from a North Korean anchor, so even that geographical border, even if it's like if it's existing or not existent, things will be different. Like the Tagalog of that we would speak in northern Mindanao would not really sound like how it is in actual Katagalugan or the northern part of the Philippines. And even my type of Cebuano does not sound like Ate Sheila Cebuano. you've
I
heard, you've heard,
Vince,
you've
really,
heard.
after this one, we really need to speak Cebuano, and let's find out the difference.
Okay, right. We will do that. That will be in the Tuki Anay Dalatagay channel. Anyway,
Okay, another channel.
that's another channel that I've started with Ryan, who was one of our guests from last week. So let's go back to the original question: how the borders affect society as of now. We have just talked about it. How will it affect people in the future? In my humble opinion, it's still going to be the same thing. But I think if information is freely coming and going, even if we have borders. I mean, right now we are in our mini borders. Each family's houses. If you're not inoculated, you're not supposed to go unannounced and just visit. No, that's not
Exactly.
definitely a thing. And so right now we have mini borders in our own neighborhoods, in our own countries, and because of this, even with this, it would be different. What I'm trying to say here is that there's a free flow of information. We still watch the same kind of TV. We watched YouTube. Actually, not everyone watches the same thing on YouTube. So there's also a difference in our pop culture. But if we just if we have a common denominator, it would be maybe the news. Here, at least in America, it would be NBC, um, ABC, CNN, perhaps Fox News for the right wing Republicans, and what else is there? CBS. So those are the major networks here in America, and then there are a few others. But if we are tuning in the same type of English, then we would still understand each other. However, there are certain shows that are so different, and so after a while, we definitely will be merging, not merging. We will be uh, not no longer be. It's kind of like what happened with when the British first came to America. Imagine
Exactly.
how different it is now. American English is really different from British English. We do still have the same commonality as far as some people speak, but then when I listen to Brits, eh, I actually kind of struggle at times. There would be times where I would be asking to for that person to repeat what he or she just said because it's just so different from my ears. Same thing with Jamaican English. It was heavily derived from Irish, and they have the intonation, but then it also was got melded with a different with the various African languages that were in that vicinity, and so it really what a gun, man. Whatever. I'm not gonna. That's just something that I, but
That
then
you
I
learned
listen.
somewhere.
Yeah, that
That
if
you
I
heard
if
from
I
somewhere.
but I've heard some from somewhere exactly. I listen to a lot of reggae music, so I could kind of understand what they're saying. And even on Clubhouse, I used to just listen to them. I would not speak. I just wanted to hear what they say. There are African Americans who in the same room, and they would speak their own um, English dialect, and I could kind of I have a better chance understanding the African American than the Jamaican uh, accent. To be honest with all of you, but so what does it look like in the future? It will definitely be the same thing. I think there's going to be no difference unless our media somehow gets cut off, just like perhaps South Koreans are not, or so rather North Koreans probably are not able to watch South Korean media. Is this true, Julie? If that's the case, but then I guess for the South Koreans sometimes see stuff from North Korea, like there will be leaks. I guess is that a fair thing to say?
Oh, sorry, I don't understand what you say. Could
So
you repeat?
yeah, sure. What
It's
I'm
about
trying to
the
say here,
TV
the
channel,
TV,
the
TV.
stations.
hmm
I don't
So
think so. So North Korea really blocking everything from South Korea. the influence, every influence from South Korea, but there is a way. I heard that there is a way North Korea to watch and listen to South Korea anyway. And then I heard the upper class of North Korea watch the South Korean dramas all the time, but the bottom classes doesn't. They not allowed to do that. So
Mhm. So yeah,
yes.
so after a while, because they don't have exposure from the other types of Koreans live in the same freaking peninsula, then they would their language would drift off. That is what I was trying to say earlier. So, but what about you guys, at the Sheila?
So are
Anything
you
to add?
referring to if the borders from like will affect people in the future if all the
Mhm.
borders gonna be like an open border? Okay, I just don't want to be so positive about it, Vince,
Sure.
because as I can see right now, it's happening right now that it's like, I saw the news when Haitian people crossed the border in somewhere in Texas. It was really, it was a chaos. So it's like, for me, it's how would I say this, it's just really like I'm not positive about it, because let's say for example, so since we're talking about US right now, or other countries too, but let's say for example, if US will open their borders, Mexico will open their borders, how many US citizens will try to live in Mexico, and how many Mexican citizens will try to cross to the US? So I think it's gonna be like, I don't know, there's gonna be civil war, I think, at the end.
Okay. What about you, Chris? Anything to add regarding? I mean, how about this? Could you touch upon how similar we're supposed to be with the Indonesians and the Malaysians, as far as it looks? As far but the culture is really different because we've been cut off. Like our even our islands have not been communicating with
Exactly.
each other. Could you touch upon that?
Oh, well, what do you mean by that? So,
So
about we have
Mafil
like,
Indo. Do you remember that from Civica and Cultura, civics and culture class?
pagkaras.
Mafil Mafil Indo, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia.
Hmm.
Indonesian.
We are supposed to be Austronesians. We're supposed to be one people, but the problem is we now are, of course, after a while we've drifted off as different countries, and we no longer really see each other as same people. Even though when we look at each other, like for example,
We're
Ade
pretty much
Santi,
the same.
we have the same freaking look. It's like
Exactly.
Ade Santi is like if she just started speaking Tagalog, be like, "Oh, okay, sure, she's Filipino." And
Exactly.
if I started saying "apa kabar," then I would be they would mistake me for someone from there, albeit Chinese Indonesian. But I mean, yeah. Anyway, so could you touch upon that sort of commonality, or if you don't have anything else to say, then
Yeah,
send me
the
to.
commonality, I think, for that is that, because yeah, as you mentioned that way back then, um there's a like there's a history regarding that one, so that we are correlated to the neighbor countries. And and now, because maybe we're living in a archipelago, which is an island, and maybe
Island nation.
island nations. And I don't know if this is true or a myth, that along the way, that because we're just we're living in an island nation, it's floating, and there's a, sudden change, like a movement of an island, and there's going to be a separation. So, and then here we become a separate country, and there's another country has been separated already. But yeah, the commonality is the culture, I guess. And and um, because we're both living in an Asian country, and also I could easily relate to them. Like, here in the Philippines, the Indonesia, I believe um, they actually they have this noontime show that we have here in Philippines.
Yes, eat bulaga.
The It Bulaga has been branched out to Indonesian, and Indonesian enjoyed the structure of it, and they love it, and they applied it in their own country, and and then Itbulaga is branching out right now. So, by the way, to all of the viewers, Itbulaga is longest noontime show here,
Noontime TV show.
noontime
Yes.
TV show here in the Philippines, and it was actually a branch out to Indonesia right now. And yeah, those are the commonalities, like because we're both living in the Southeast Asia. So now there's, I think, there will be no like a difference. The difference is just a language, though, because that that is always that we need to consider. But
Of course.
overall, like the height and the facial looks, it's almost pretty the same, that you couldn't notice which is which. So something like that.
Yeah, but I just the height is there.
Right.
No question, no doubt about it.
Mhm. But here in the Philippines, by the way, because we are like, how do I say this? We are like invade, or not invade, but
We've been
we
invaded. We've been
Colon,
colonized
we've been
by some
colonized
Spanish,
by
we've been
different, by
colonized
Spanish, by
by
Japanese,
Japanese,
the Americans.
by the last one
uh,
are the Americans.
the
Yeah,
Americans. So that's why here in Philippines, you could see any any possible faces that you could imagine, like American people. We have that here, and also like
Los Angeles.
no. Well, we have like a mestizo, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's the common thing, right? It's just
they
like,
look
oh, he's
like
a mestizo or
they
mestiza.
look like American. They look like
Eurasians.
Latin American
Yes,
look,
definitely.
some
Uh-huh.
the Latin looks, and also Korean looks. We also have here.
The chinit, but the problem is they would call them chinitos instead of or chinita,
Exactly. It's
like
pretty much
Julie.
Chinese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
That's
Because
that's
their
what it means.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's
yeah.
the generic name. Even I would be called chinita. I mean, I would
Yeah,
not
yeah,
be
yeah. You
offended.
Vince, you have it. I
I
can see it
definitely
in your hands. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
you have
definitely
all.
don't have it.
No, you have a what kind
morena
of
look.
look did I
I
more
have the
no
real morena look.
Morena,
Moreno
by
look.
the way, means brown. So that's what it
It's
just means.
brown
Um,
skin. Actually, it's a
Fair skin,
fair
yeah.
fair skin, yes.
yeah, fair skin. Olive
Um,
oil skin.
Now that we've touched upon the culture, actually, let's move on to the third question, which was, what is cultural border and what does this look like to you? For me, a cultural border is a border where it's not a real border; it's more like a border in our minds. We have
Exactly.
we have different places here in Los Angeles that are predominantly Latino, predominantly even. Oh, that's right. There's a Koreatown here, and there's a Chinatown, there's a Manila town, but I'm not sure. I haven't been to Manila town, so I can't really speak for that portion of LA. But I could also kind of just a little bit tad speak about Armenia, the Armenians in Glendale, and if we come back to the San Francisco Bay Area, Fogtown, Fogtown, Daly City. That's the informal name of Daly City because the Filipinos have congregated in Daly City. So whenever there's fog, the common joke is that everyone is nagsasaing, which means they are cooking rice right now, and that's just the steam forming in the air. So that's why it's foggy in Daly City because of all the Filipinos cooking rice. But still, that's just a joke. But so a cultural border again is more like people of the same country, the same practices. Julie, you actually have a very good answer to this pre hour meeting, and so maybe you could talk about this further. So here you go. I'm actually yeah. So if you can just touch upon what you wrote, and that would be awesome.
Thank you for putting in the chat. So I always forget what I said and what did I say? Something. It's a hard time to remember what my answer was. So culture border is a look like me is a culture shock, culture differences, and then yeah. So I think as a I just read my answer. As long as we build our own borders and boundary, even in a house, we build a wall from the outside, and then I think every day we are building our own boundary and our own borders. So because it gives some kind of physically and psychologically comfort within our borders. Certain you can expect certain moods and everybody every day routine is, but we are bound, and then we also desire to break out the walls and boundaries. That's why, and then yeah. So I'm sorry, I lost.
okay.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to say was like a culture border is like a building our own culture within, even not just like a culture differences among countries. It's like a even within a family, we are also experiencing culture differences. When I get married, marriage is a between unification of the different family, and then we also within a marriage, within a family, we also experiencing culture differences. So that's what I'm trying to say in here.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Julie. What about you, Ate? When it comes to cultural borders, especially
Okay.
in Canada, how about let's start with Canada first. Like you were
Okay.
talking about the different neighborhoods.
Okay, so for me, it's that the presence of some kind of a culture differences. It's a cultural boundaries. So let's say when I was living in Canada, I know like there's some certain place wherein there is Chinatown. There was like Little Manila where group the community, the Filipino community lives together, and also the Chinatown wherein other Asian people live together. And we have also like the Turkish community since my husband is Turkish. That's why I I encountered also a Turkish community living in a community. So it's just like they have their own markets, they have their own their traditions. They how would I say this? They really carry their culture with them from their country. They're bringing it with them, although they are already living in a different country. But still, they are united because they share the same culture and tradition. Yes, Vince.
What happened? Oh, I was just grabbing some of the stuff that I bought
No,
from.
no, no, no. I just
What?
that's what I've said. It's just
Oh,
like I can see different communities tied in the same culture, although they're already living in a different country,
mhm.
but they are still living together, united by their own same tradition, same culture, but
Mhm.
separated from other group of people who also share their own cultures and traditions. They have certain boundaries of their culture and traditions.
Yes, and it's only really here as far as markets. Here, for example, I'm not sorry, hold on. I'm not affiliated with any of these
Are
products
you
over,
promoting?
but I'm
Oh,
not promoting anything. I'm just saying that
yeah,
here's a
you
China
have the
noodle.
commission. Mhm.
Now I'm not being paid commission, but this is a Taiwanese noodle. We
Okay.
also and I have like a what is this Japanese tonkotsu,
Tonkatsu,
um,
Okay.
and then
tonkatsu,
we have a Thai curry here. So
Thai,
there
yeah.
are so as
I
far as
think Vince is
market,
promoting this product.
I wish we were promoting this channel eventually, but I'm just saying that as far as our products, we definitely have a lot of influx of. If you just go to a different market and you'd have even in one market, we have a market here called 99 Ranch. 99 Ranch features everything Asian, whatever it is. Like we would have our own sections. There's an Indonesian section, the Filipino section. There's a Thai, Chinese, a Korean. Also, speaking of Korean, there's the Galleria market. We could get our kimchi there, or whatever else. Um, Help me out here, Julie. When it comes to the food, oh my gosh, there's like the bibimbap, the bulgogi. What else is there? Like the various banchan stuff. Like they have everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
but Vince, you also have to consider the fact that U.S. Canada, Australia,
Sure.
they
Sure, sure.
are also like multicultural
Very,
country.
very.
So that's why you can have access to all these products from different countries. But let's say for me here in Turkey, it's really difficult. Like
Yeah,
it,
it's really
I
difficult. Yeah.
it's I couldn't find any like Asian spices or any
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asian stuff. I saw it one time online, but
Mm-hmm.
it's way too high. The rocket is the price just skyrocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
Yeah,
expensive. We
it's
don't
really
see any other products here.
yeah, it's really hard over there because I think the only thing that they really have as far as meat is turkey, right?
They are yeah, exactly. Turkey.
Oh, is that for real?
I'm kidding.
No,
No, no, no, no.
I'm
I know
kidding.
you're kidding.
It's a
they
little bit of a
seldom
joke.
eat turkey here.
Yeah, that definitely is not a meat of choice as far as. But
Yeah,
I only mentioned turkey is it's because Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. I think
American Thanksgiving is coming.
it's coming up. So, but it's different for the Canadian.
Canadians, we had it already.
Yeah.
It
So
was on the second every second Saturday of October.
yeah. So yeah, they thank their harvest during October. I don't know why it's November for Americans. There's definitely something.
There's a story
There's a story
behind that
behind
one
it. Yeah.
thing.
Something about the pilgrims. But at any rate, I wanted to now that we have dealt with that question, the cultural borders, let's go into our last question. How do borders cause conflict or create opportunities for conflict? For me, it's all about resources. It
Exactly.
is. I was watching a documentary by Vox. They had a series about borders, and it almost always goes into products or services. Even religion was one of the conflict inducing opportunity for borders to form. Right now there or even yeah right now there is a fish war between Sri Lanka and India. So Tamil Nadu, very southernmost tip of India, the Tamil Nadu, there are Tamils. The Tamil people live on each country. They're actually they're able to like talk to each other like, without any problems. But the problem is the fish. The fish in the same soil on the same not soil, of course, because fish don't swim in soil.
In water.
Yeah, same waters as as the as so they are fishing from the same sea, and on the Indian side because they are very aggressive with their fishing, they have run out of fish. Like there's not so they venture into the Sri Lankan the smaller countries waters and they trawl over there. Trawling, TRAWL. So this is a type of fishing where they um, drop nets, massive nets that have
Exactly.
heavy weights, and they plow through the sea floor. So it really damages the corals, whatever
All
is
the
down there.
seaweed.
Yeah, but it's very efficient in catching fish and whatever marine life they would like to sell. There's a lot of Indians are big exporters of shrimp, and that is or prawns rather, not shrimp. Prawns are bigger,
Prawns. The prawns
and
are the biggest one.
yes, so they've exported to different parts of the United States is one of their customers, very huge eaters of shrimp, and so they've been fishing in the Sri Lankan border. So conflict products and services. Kuya, or yeah,
But I
Kuya.
think Edward has a good say for this one
Yeah,
because the
definitely.
issue
Mhm.
between China and the Philippines
Yes,
with
I would
the
like.
water.
Yes, could you talk about that, please? South China
Oh,
Sea, East Philippine Sea, West Philippine Sea.
yeah, that's
I don't
actually
know.
causes.
I'm going
That's
to
actually
Spratly Islands right now.
Yeah, that's actually causes conflict between the borders. Like the it's more of territorial thing. So
Exactly.
there are two reasons for disputes about boundaries. We do not know where the line is. That is the first one.
The line
And
just disappeared.
yeah,
The
the line
border just
disappeared.
disappeared.
The border disappeared. So and also we do not like where the line is, and boundary uncertainty can occur because the line has never been drawn or never been accepted by both parties.
Mhm.
I really like it's never been drawn, so it should be drawn like like putting a wall, something like that. So
Yeah.
it's not gonna be
Exactly.
happen. It's not gonna be happen in the middle of oceans or something.
Yeah. How can you do it?
How can you do it? But uh, along uh, um, time will pass by, it will be destroyed by the ocean, so it's illogical. But yeah, there's a dispute claim, but I don't want to name
No name.
to drop the
Fine. Fine.
I don't want to drop names, of course,
Yeah. Fine.
because I don't want to make it more racial thing. But yeah, claiming for their territories is something like, that could cause conflict, regarding these borders. It's more of territorial thing. And also, I'm thinking, why they're not like, um even though they are like, they have this kind of agreement, and they like, i- and this country is like not far, not too far from you, so it's like a neighbor country, um that you could actually say that this is a neighbor country, but at the same time, they don't want to give up their territory, maybe because of the population somehow, and the resources, like,
Exactly.
yeah, like what been said, the resources, of course, of the aquamarine, or the marine, like, because there's something like this, that there's a some islands that there's an oil beneath,
Spratly Islands.
so it's part of the island,
Yeah, I'm
so
going there.
they're just like, claiming, most of the countries nearby to that specific island is just claiming that, hey, that island is is from us. So even Philippines is actually claiming it, but Philippines is, very near to that island.
Hmm.
But so it will, it will go to the dominant country, of course, for now, even though it has been already escalated to, like, to the United Nations, and the Philippines appeal won, and
Exactly.
we supposedly to have those kind of territories, but until now, we cannot claim it that it's ours. But yeah, I think that's one of the conflict, I would say, and the opportunities, yeah, amidst of conflicts, the opportunities there is somehow, it will, hoping, I'm very hopeful that it will come came up to the to the peaceful talk, so they so that this will resolve resolve the issue, and that way, if there's a like agreement, and the issue was resolved already, so I think there's gonna be like pretty the same way back then, that there's gonna be an exchanges of resources, and there's no conflict, um um and there's no more conflict at all. So yeah,
Sharing
that's
is
pretty
caring.
much it.
As you said, Chris, you've always said this. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. Yeah.
So I really hope we come to that agreement one of these days. But
Yeah, but it's a very difficult one to tell, Vince, because
yes,
everybody, like both China and the Philippines, they do have their own conflict of interest.
very.
So I'm
But
not
it
quite
really
so
is.
positive about it.
It's really about the politicians, though. I think the
Exactly.
people don't really care so much about
Yeah,
who
but
owns what.
who suffered the most with this border problem with this island, the ocean? It's the fishermen.
Yeah,
The
yeah, definitely.
fishermen, the
Yes,
The
fishermen.
definitely.
fishermen, because they couldn't find any other fish, where the China put the barrier for the Filipino fishermen.
Hmm.
So they need to go to the other side because the grass is greener on the other side.
Mhm.
But it's just a conflict, and it's been ongoing conflict for quite some time now. So
Yes.
I don't think it will stop.
What about you, Julie? When it comes to the North Korean and South Korean border, I mean, it's the cause of conflict was the politics, right? And it was all about the communist North Korea and then the South Korea being backed by the U.S. and is now in line with the capitalists. Could you? I mean, I'm not that well versed with the Korean War that caused the split, but could you a little bit, yeah,
The
talk about
cause
it?
of the split. It's a long history of and then because we are colonized by Japan for 45 years, and then after the
45.
Japan, 45 years.
Philippines was just 4.
35 years. I'm confused. I think 40.
That's too long.
For years.
That's really
Yeah,
it's
too
definitely
long,
longer than
and
the
then-
Philippines, right?
Yeah,
So-
and then I wish nobody from Korea watched this video. You are so dumb.
It's okay. It's okay.
Anyway,
It's okay, Julie. We're not famous yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
once we
there is
will
a-
be,
And
Yeah,
we will,
there is a
yeah.
huge leap. Anyway, I always confused with the number with 35 years. Anyway, the Japan colonized the Korea for so many years, and then after the World War II, the Japan bombed by USA, and then they say they surrender, and then right after the Japan surrender, we won our independence. But the Kurds, there was a Russia, the United Soviet. I think there was at the moment there was a United Soviet Union something,
yeah,
and
Soviet
then
Union, Russia.
Soviet Union, and then America divide us just like okay, we need to divide because they fought together before the Cold War. In the World War II, they fought together against the German. So they agreed to divide us. It's the 3.8 line, based on 3.8 line, and then North Korea become under the Soviet Union party, and then South Korea under the American society, America, USA, and then suddenly 1950, Korean War broke. The Communist Party came over and then tried to conquer whole Korean society, like a big to become a communist party, communist nation. But and then the Soviet Union, China, all communist country at the moment. So they back up the North Korea, and then so the Korean War started like that. Though after 3 years, I guess, and then we make up truce. Okay, we need to stop war, and then the story like that. So many Koreans significantly suffer from Japanese colonization, and then Korean War. We are divided. That is something we never expected before. So one nation, and then I think Korea is still one nation, only nation divided in two. So that is a very unusual, very unique about Korea. And then I don't know. We always talking about unification. So someday, so definitely we should unify with North Korea. But I don't know. It will be huge challenge, to be honest, because there's, like I said before, the economic status and then development status is so different. So definitely South Korea make a huge sacrifice to have North Korea, but are we willing to sacrifice all of things? Because with South Korea, we also dealing with our own conflict and problems within South Korea. South Korea will still having issue about the wealth, about the wealth division, dividing wealth. The wealth, are we equaling enough to our distribution of wealth? Are we struggling with the issue of a distribution of wealth? Are we equal society. Everybody get an equal opportunity to get ahead in society. So even if even in we are dealing with our own problem, can we embrace other country which is way poor than our society and way unfair than our society? So that is a huge issue in Korea. So we are aware of North Korea, but for me, okay, there is a North Korea, but I don't want to deal with right now. Something like subconsciously, I just put it into something in my back.
You know who
behind
would
my
you know who would really care about this? David Oppa, because he told us way back that he still has family in North Korea, and he tries to communicate with them, but no success.
You say who?
David
I don't.
Oppa. David Oppa. David.
David?
Our yes,
Oh,
mhm.
oh, I see. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he told us that he does still has family over there. He's tried to communicate with them, but no luck, no luck whatsoever. So and he's kind of lost hope. Yeah, they probably are not going to be able to come down South Korea at all. But I know that there are some people who do cross the border and become like, they're called defectors, and they're able to do it, but they may get killed or whatever. So
And
yeah,
you know what, Julie? You're still fortunate because you're one nation divided by two. But here in the Philippines, we're one nation divided by three. We have Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. I'm just kidding.
that's three islands, but we do have
The three biggest islands.
the biggest island, the land of the promise, supposedly Mindanao.
We are the
Yeah,
land of the promise. Are
yeah,
we?
because
I
No, it's
was thinking
Mindanao.
we are like our island. I was like the land of milk and honey.
I mean, if you kind of like, if you compare the what I call this now, the ideas, yes. But did you guys know that the Philippines was called this? If you, I'm pretty sure you can read this, Julie.
Is it?
Kumsan in Korea is
Chinsen,
Kumsan, but in Chinese it sounds
I know this
differently.
one. It's like
Chinsen, Chinsen.
what's the meaning of it?
Gold Mountain. That's what
Um,
the Chinese used to
oh,
call the
Gold
Philippines
Mountain.
because they,
I
they
was
came here.
thinking we are the golden dragon of Southeast Asia.
We're the pearl of the Orient, supposedly.
Yeah, I know, Pearl of
Yeah.
the Orient Seas, but I also heard we are the dragon of the
A dragon
Southeast
now?
Asia.
I did not
Yeah.
know that, but okay. What about Korea? Is there a moniker for Korea? South Korea, at least, when it comes to Asia. I know
Oh,
K-pop is it's a proud land of K-pop.
K-pop. Yeah.
Land
So
of
there's that.
K-pop.
There's already
Yeah.
a Filipino version of K-pop. Like,
Oh my gosh, yes, there is. There
the-
are. Yeah,
yeah,
there are.
there
There
are.
are.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm totally outdated of what's going on in the Philippines and the Asian K-pop stuff.
But yeah,
I'm
it's
so old
basically.
for that.
But just look at the K-pop group, but put like Filipino faces, like but then especially if you are like if you have the Chinito look, the Asian
The ones that
Asian
looks
look,
like
like me,
Vince.
exactly.
Yeah, the one that looks
Then
like
and
this
have like have a lot of makeup,
could
yeah.
could be a K-pop member.
What?
But then singing in Tagalog, and there is also a group that sings in Cebuano, English, uh, Ilocano, Hiligaynon. They melded it into one single freaking song.
Are you
And
really
yeah,
serious, Vince?
yeah,
Or you're
but
just
but
goofing
no,
around?
I'm not goofing around. It's there. I forgot what they're called though at this time. But yeah, it's very oh my god, what was it? Alamat. That's what they called the group.
Okay.
If I
Let me
could
check
find it
it
right now.
on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely check it out on YouTube. I love how they were able to. It's kind of like a united Philippines. It's not just
But
Tagalog, you know.
exactly. But
So
Filipinos can sing, but not
sure.
me. Okay,
Speaking of which, when I ran out of ideas, basically, to those who are
like
watching,
Vince.
yeah, I actually
Okay, you
I
can
just like
sing.
I just like did not know what to do anymore. I'm so frustrated right now. So I started looking for a beat on YouTube that was for free, and I just read my answer, and then just okay, so this is how it sounds like. I just kept saying it anyway. So that's just me and my crazy I guess.
That's your
But yes,
craziness.
yes. So guys, cultures and borders is officially I think over. Thank you so much, Julie, Kuya Edward, Ate Sheila, And
Thank
you,
you,
Vince.
guys.
Vince, thank you, Vince.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vince.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you,
You're
Thank
such
Vince.
a
you,
great
Vince.
moderator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moderator extraordinaire.
Y-
Yeah.
Yeah, you're super.
Yeah, Superman. Everything.
You're
Yeah,
super
exactly.
mega. Super mega.
So hopefully for next time we have Jeff Fagundes and
Yeah.
Hermano Eduardo, Kuya Edwards Tocayo. And by the
Exactly.
way,
Where are you guys? You missed
mhm,
this whole thing.
we
Oh, yeah,
missed
we
you. Yeah.
miss you guys.
Yeah, why did you have to create a border between us right now? We're supposed to be one freaking core group, but it's okay.
We just opened the borders.
Yes. But by the way, next time I'm not really sure what time we will be a meeting, and it's only because things have shifted for Kuya Edward, and also it's kind of inconvenient for Atishu. It's like your dinner time. For
Exactly.
you, Julie, it's like way early in the morning. You're so kind of
Oh,
and for me, I mean, it's early for me too, but I'm used to this time because I work from 1 a.m. to 10 a.m. So it's like it's within my waking hours. So that's why it hasn't been a problem with me. But I really would like to move this meeting in a time slot where every
For
single
everybody.
person is
Exactly.
able to come, because that is
yeah.
what I really want. And of course, if you guys know anyone who's female, who's strong female wise, because right now the core group, the four people who kind of started this, are all male. Well, I mean, albeit we're from different parts of the world, but still, we want female voices to be represented in the
Yeah.
Rinky Dink link.
Exactly.
Which
And it's fun. You know what really attached me to this group is just we come from different countries. I
yeah,
mean,
Yes.
like, okay, we like Vince, Edward, and me. We
we're
are
from the
like
Philippines. We're
we're from
tied
the
up to the
Philippines.
Philippines.
Yes, but we're living right
Yeah.
now in different countries.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And here comes Julie from South Korea,
South,
and
Mm-hmm.
Jeff,
South Korea.
and
Yeah.
Eduardo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jeff from Brazil,
Was
Hermano from
So I think the next
Argentina.
time we're gonna call us is just like real talk, like people from different countries.
Right. And that is our mission here, to be able to speak in English, but we all know that we are people from different parts of the world, and we are from different walks of life. We definitely are, and this is what
Exactly.
makes it unique, I think. And it's all because we are I'd hate to say it, we are all language learners, but I think we've moved past that now. I mean,
Exactly.
we could use the language to the fullest of our capabilities. I know that
Of
still there are
course.
still some minor mistakes here and there, but that's,
yeah.
I mean, if you listen to native speakers of this language, they also have mistakes, different kinds of mistakes, but still it is a mistake nonetheless. So we are celebrating our differences, but also what unifies us is the use of the English language, and also the types of interests that we have. Next time
Exactly.
we will talk about something else. I'm not sure what it will be. We will look. I mean, it could be food. It could. I'm not sure about food because it's that got turned down last time. But we do have many. Let's see. What was our? So we have so we've covered culture today, borders as well. We have integration or segregation, and we also have multi-generational housing, which is really common for Asian countries. But I'm not sure about the South Koreans. Like that's Omoni and Halmoni live in the same house as Julie. That would be a question I would love to ask you. I only know about these words because of the freaking uh, Kim's Convenience. I'm not sure if you've heard of this. It's so funny. It's a Korean Canadian
Yeah, I watched it
sitcom.
a little.
So oh my knee, so good to see you. Okay, anyway, I'm not gonna make it. I really find that girl so cute. Like, phew, I wanted to pinch her cheeks. Anyway, so we also have privacy, we have women empowerment, we have motivation. So we have a lot of stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one
We
we're gonna tackle next time. But yeah,
we have a lot in the pipelines,
we
guys.
already
So
have a lot.
just tune
Exactly.
in.
Hmm. So we just need to find the freaking right time for us to meet at the same time. With that said, again, thank you so much, everyone, for
Thank you
coming.
so
And
much, everyone. We had so much
Thank
fun.
you.
like,
Thank
share,
Thank
and subscribe,
you.
guys, please. We're ending the broadcast now in 3, 2, 1.